You look in the mirror one day and something feels off, not your face, not your clothes, something deeper. You realize the person staring back is not exactly who you thought you would become. That moment hurts, but it is also the beginning. Because real transformation does not start with motivation, it starts with discomfort. A quiet feeling that the old version of you no longer fits. And if you listen to that feeling, it can rebuild your entire life. Before we go deeper, tell me where you're watching from. Most people think transformation is a big moment, a sudden decision, a fresh start, a powerful breakthrough. But real change is usually quieter than that. It starts inside, long before anyone sees it. You begin questioning things you used to accept. You notice habits you used to repeat without thinking. You feel tired of patterns that once felt normal. And slowly, your mind starts waking up. This is where transformation begins, not when your life changes, when your awareness changes, because you cannot change what you cannot see. If you keep repeating the same emotional patterns, the same thoughts, the same reactions, then your life keeps moving in the same direction. But the moment you notice the pattern, you are no longer fully trapped inside it. That awareness is the first act of freedom. Maybe you notice you always avoid hard conversations. Maybe you realize you keep choosing people who drain you. Maybe you see that your fear of failure has been controlling your decisions. At first, this awareness can feel painful. You may feel behind. You may feel ashamed. You may wonder why you didn't see it earlier. But that pain is not failure. It is the mind becoming conscious. And once the mind becomes conscious, change becomes possible. But here's where it gets difficult. Awareness shows you the door. It does not walk through it for you. And the moment you try to change, your old self fights back. That resistance is not random. It has a reason. Your brain loves what is familiar, even if familiar is painful, even if familiar is unhealthy, even if familiar is unhealthy, even if familiar is holding you back. Why? Because familiar feels safe. Your mind is built to protect your identity. So when you start acting like a new person, something inside you reacts. You try to wake up earlier, but your body pulls you back. You try to speak with confidence, but your old fear returns. You try to set boundaries, but guilt appears. This is not just laziness. It is your old identity trying to survive. That is why real transformation does not begin with habits. It begins with self-concept. You must change who you believe you are. If you believe, I am always disorganized, you may clean once, but chaos will return. If you believe, I am bad with money, you may save for a week, but old behavior will come back. If you believe, I am not confident, you may act strong for a moment, but fear will pull you down again. The identity must shift first. Start saying, I am becoming someone who takes care of my life. I am learning to manage my emotions. I am the kind of person who keeps promises to myself. At first, it feels strange, but repetition teaches the brain a new story. And every small action becomes evidence. You choose differently once, then again, and slowly your brain begins to believe the new version. But this process is uncomfortable, because between the old identity and the new one, there is a strange space. You are too aware to go back, but not fully strong enough to move forward. That space is where most people quit. But it is also where real transformation happens. This strange middle space is called the in-between phase. You are no longer who you were, but you are not fully who you are becoming. And that creates tension. It feels confusing, unstable, sometimes even lonely. You may lose interest in things that once defined you. Old habits start to feel empty. Old conversations feel forced. Old goals no longer excite you the same way. People around you might notice it too. They may not understand why you're changing, why you're quieter, why you're pulling back. And because you don't yet have a clear new identity, you might start to question yourself. You might think something is wrong, but nothing is wrong. You are being rebuilt. Think of transformation like a forest after a fire. At first, everything looks destroyed, empty, quiet, unrecognizable. From the outside, it looks like loss. But beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. The soil is resetting. New roots are forming. Seeds that could never grow before are now waking up. New life is preparing to emerge. Your mind works the same way. When old beliefs burn away, when old identities collapse, there is a moment where nothing feels stable. You don't know who you are in the same way anymore. And that uncertainty can feel like failure. But it's not. It's space. Space for something new to grow. Here is the trap most people fall into. They panic in that space. They run back to what is familiar. They call the toxic person. They go back to the old habit. They shrink themselves just to feel normal again. But normal was the problem. Normal was what kept you stuck. So when you feel that discomfort, understand what it really is. It is not punishment. It is not a sign you are doing something wrong. It is proof that your old system is losing control. Your mind is trying to pull you back into what it knows, not because it's better, because it's familiar. So stay with it. Stay in the discomfort a little longer. Let the silence teach you. Let the confusion settle. Because on the other side of that in-between phase is clarity. And this time, it will be yours. Breathe through it. Write down what you feel. Pay attention to your triggers, because emotions are not enemies. They are signals. Anger may show where your boundaries were crossed. Sadness may show what you need to release. Anxiety may show where the old self is afraid of the new one. When you stop running from emotions, they start teaching you. And that is when transformation becomes deeper than motivation. It becomes integration. You stop attacking yourself. You start understanding yourself. And what you understand, you can finally change. The deepest transformation does not look dramatic. It looks small. It looks like pausing before you react. It looks like saying no when you used to say yes out of fear. It looks like choosing peace when your old self wanted chaos. It looks like speaking honestly instead of performing for approval. And even though these moments seem small, they are not. They are psychological revolutions. Because every time you choose differently, your brain starts to rewire. Every time you respond with awareness, the old pattern gets weaker. Every time you act from your new identity, that identity becomes stronger. This is how real change happens, not through one massive breakthrough, not through one emotional speech, not through one perfect morning routine. Real transformation happens through repeated moments of conscious choice. One pause, one honest answer, one boundary, one better decision, again and again, until the old version of you no longer feels natural. But your environment matters too. You cannot become a new person while living in a world that keeps feeding the old one. If you want to change, your surroundings must support the person you are becoming. Remove the triggers that pull you backward. Change what you watch. Change what you listen to. Change the people you keep giving access to your mind. Spend more time with people who reflect your growth, not just your history. Create small reminders of your new identity. Maybe it is a clean room. Maybe it is a journal on your desk. Maybe it is a note on your phone that says, "I choose differently now." Because your environment is always training you, the question is it training the old you or the new you? And here's the final truth. Transformation is not about becoming someone fake. It is about returning to what is real. The version of you that existed before fear, before conditioning, before you learned to perform for approval. The real you is not invented. It is uncovered, layer by layer, choice by choice, truth by truth. And one day you look back and realize something powerful. The things that used to control you no longer do. The thoughts that used to trap you now pass through. The pain that once defined you has become wisdom. And the version of you that once felt impossible now feels natural. That is transformation. Not perfection. Awareness. Not force. Alignment. Not pretending. Just becoming honest enough to live differently. There is one thing I didn't say at the start. You are not stuck. You are between versions. So today, choose one small action that matches who you are becoming. Do it for the next 7 days. Then comment what changed. I'd love to hear it.